Welcome to another exciting episode of American Warrior Radio, coming to you since 2009. If you or someone you know has ever worn the uniform of the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard, Space Force, or National Guard or Reserves, you've come to the right place, American Warrior Radio. We're always efforting to bring you news, notes, interviews, and current events for all things military and veteran related. The bumper music for American Warrior Radio is provided by none other than combat veteran and mill hop artist Stephen Hobbs. Thank you, Stephen. With that said, let's kick the tires and light the fires and get this episode off the ground. Hi, everybody. It's Garren Cohen with American Warrior Radio Show, and we're so happy you joined us today because we have a very special guest, a very honorable man, Dr. Eric Wright. Hi, Doc. How are you?
Hey, Garren, what's going on, bud? Great to see you. I just saw you last night at a networking event. So
yeah, you're out there, and you're always working it. You're always helping the military family. Before we get started into anything that I want to talk about specifically, give our listeners and our viewers a little bio about yourself, a little of your background.
Yeah, so for those of you watching, as you can tell, I'm a little long in the tooth. So I served way back in the Gulf War. I was a Navy welder, had a rough transition. I spoke naval nuclear propulsion and welding, and that didn't go over very well with civilians. They had no idea what I was talking about outside of the shipyard. So I would struggle to find meaningful employment. And I would finally find that when I got to DOD later. I finished a master's degree, made a mediocre accountant, but they figured out I was a pretty dang good project manager. So that's where I cut my teeth in formal project management. We'd been doing that in the Navy, so would go from DOD to university, and then I would go from university to vets to PM. Took $500 and a executive business plan, 2-page business plan, and a vision to do transition a little better, and it was being done in a TAPS class, at least the one I went through at the time. And so now we help military veterans land meaningful, lucrative post-service careers. And in only 8 years, we've helped over 12,000 of them land in over 1,100 companies, and they're all just killing it, man.
Wow. All right, so let's back it up just a minute here, Doc. What possessed you? What got into you that you wanted to join the military in the first place? Was there a family tradition?
Well, yeah, if you go back on the right side of the family, there's men under arms all the way back to the Revolutionary War, right?
Wow.
But I wish I could say, looking back, it was altruistic, but it wasn't. I was 18 years old. I had graduated high school about 6 months before. I was knocking around on a ranch in the high desert, learning the art of breaking horses and welding fences and trailers and, just kind of eking out a living. And happened to be down the hill from Phelan, California, up in the high desert out in San Bernardino. I was down the hill visiting a friend and saw this recruiting station, dude, and they had welder and, underwater welder. And I was like, hey, so I can do what I'm doing now, but instead of spending what little money I make and, taking showers in horse tubs and stuff, brother, I can get Uncle Sugar to pay me to do it in 3 squares a day, man. I'm in. So, yeah.
Excellent. Yep. And you enjoyed your time during service.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, man, I was probably, I know I was. Senior Chief said, right, your biggest pain in the ass I've ever had to lead, but dang, boy, you can weld. So he kind of put up with it and mentored me a little bit. But yeah, not going to tell you I was going to retire after doing 20 plus, but I was still liking it. I was still finding my way and was pretty dang good at welding and got med boarded out. So transition is rough as it is. But then when I stall you for 6 months and say, hey, you got 3 days, get off the boat, kid. That's just kind of a, 40 miles an hour to a brick wall, dead stop. Kind of traumatic.
And Doc, that can persist to this day with the transition assistance program. It could be much more than it is, but you dealt with it firsthand and you saw how much it was lacking. And like I said, it continues to this day. So that kind of springboarded you into an educational career. And like you said, you got your master's, now you have a PhD, and you're a prolific writer / author. And everybody, and y'all need to get this, okay? This is one of Doc's books, and mine is very special because I've got it autographed. But the idea here is you wanted to help others so they didn't have to go through the grind, the mill that you did.
Yeah, because see, I mean, here's the reality, Garren. Like, I don't care if you work for the. Okay, so let's do a quick thought exercise, everybody in listening. Okay, so as I describe this organization, I want you to tell me what you think it is. So it's a large organization. It's got thousands of people. It's got all kinds of rules, policies, procedures, customs, courtesies, norms. It's got problems in finance. It's got problems with people. It's got problems with hiring and firing. It's got problems with people not meeting standards. It's got problems with demanding customers. Now, oh, and by the way, you're asked to solve problems with very short suspenses and very few resources. Okay, with that background, how many of you think I am talking about Department of Army or Department of Navy, or am I talking about USAA, Coca-Cola, and Avon?
It could be the post office even.
That's what I mean, man. I mean, we've helped thousands of veterans every year, and two of the biggest things they struggle with, Garren, at least in my experience, brother, because you and I are in the same fight, right? We're helping vets, is I don't know what I'm going to do next, right? I have trouble envisioning the new end state. You come in, you go E1 to E9 if you want to. There's a plan. You go O1 to O8, there's a plan. There's no plan in the Civ Div, man. They hire you, they put you in a cubicle and expect you to punch in and out on time. And if you do that, hey, man, nobody cares, right? They also struggle with, well, I don't know how my experience is going to translate. So, yeah, I kicked in doors, or I worked on jet engines, or I worked on tank turbines, or I did whatever I did. But surely the civilians don't appreciate it. Well, if you talk in the language of your MOS, they don't know what you did. But if you talk in terms of, hey, I solve problems in complex environments with limited resources and small teams, and I still get shit done, man, every company in corporate America needs those guys and gals. You know what I mean?
Oh, for sure. That's a very good point you just made there, because a lot of what our military members learn on the job in our awesome military, the finest on the planet, finest ever, is how to problem solve, how to have very few resources, short suspense time, and get her done, get the job done. So that just dovetails perfectly. You mentioned separating from service, and now there's a big push for this skill bridge. Do you have an opinion on that?
Well, we absolutely love it. In my humble opinion, nobody asked, but my humble opinion, it's one of the best things DOD's ever done, I think.
Wow.
So, I mean, think about this. Regardless, and I'm from a different era, right? But regardless of what branch you joined, regardless of how long you served, regardless of whether you were enlisted or officer, there's two extremely formative events in any veteran's life. The day you went from civilian to soldier, sailor, airman, Marine, pretty transformative. And the day you went from soldier, sailor, airman, Marine back to civilian. Here's the difference, though, brother. In one of the two events, there is an immersive exercise with a field manual on how to be that thing, and then a follow-on school. But everybody's the same. Everybody's executing the same mission. In the other of the two events, brother, it's like a paint booth. You drive in on a Monday, you'll roll down the conveyor belt like a car wash or something. They spray paint you with yellow paint. You're a tactical Humvee vehicle. They spray paint you with yellow paint, and then they brainwash everybody, to include the veteran that just got the new coat of paint, that, hey, look, everybody, he's a civilian school bus. And we wonder why it doesn't work. And oh, by the way, here's another rub. You're DOD until the day you ain't. If you got any breakage at all, now you're the VAs. Well, but they only treat we do healthcare around here, brother. We can't help with all that other stuff. Oh, like a job or a paycheck? Oh, well, you're Department of Labor's. So right. Now you're in this crazy limbo of, where do I go? How do I get out, man? That's, that's what you do.
Exactly. So GI, government issue, you made some great points there. You know what you're supposed to do. You've got people pushing you along that track, and then that all ends. Everything has to start anew once you separate service. Like you said, longevity retiree or a 4-year or a 2-year vet, it doesn't matter. They're all facing the same situation. That's what geared you up and really has your heart going in the right direction to help that. Tell me a little bit about Vets to PM.
Yep. So we did this well before SkillBridge, but we were one of the first movers into SkillBridge. I just saw the vision. I was like, oh my God, this could be huge. So, instead of guys and gals soaking their last couple days or weeks of leave or whatever, which is what we were doing, now Uncle Sugar's covering the last 90 days or so of their training, right? Their benefits, their health, all of it. So what we do at Vets of PM is we have 200 to 300 vets a month. We intake them, we orient them. They pick 4 or 5 white collar jobs because the work is meaningful and it is a nice paycheck. So it's commensurate with most of our guys and gals are like E6 to 05. So we bring them in, we orient them. They pick a career track. We put them on the job site. We've got relationships with over 1,200 companies. We put them on the job site. They get 90 days worth of OJT while they go to our digital schoolhouse at night and certify all that civilian experience now, because they already got the management and the leadership. Now they're just getting the technical X experience. So they get the technical X experience and we certify them, the PMP, the APHR, the SEC Plus, like whatever they want to get, right? And then we shop them around to corporate America. And Garren, we do that for life, brother. So you go into pharma, you call me 5 years later, like, hey, dude, I want to do construction. Guess what? We revise your resume and we start hustling you to all the construction companies we know. You know what I mean? So it's because what we found is after our first couple of years at this, the certifications are great, but the piece of paper, brother, doesn't get me peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. It doesn't fill the gas tank, man. I need the job to realize, the benefit of the golden Willy Wonka ticket you gave me. So we started doing the staffing piece and learned how to do that and got really good at it. So we're kind of a niche staffing agency that trains and makes the commodity that we ultimately staff. So it's a really cool way to make a living, man, for sure.
And what kind of time investment is there from the time they engage Vets of PM until the time they may be in a corporation or a company doing that OJT stint?
So we get
generally speaking.
Yeah. We get them in the first week or two after we orient them and onboard them. We get them into corporate America. So they're getting almost, full 90 days of OJT. And then a lot of our guys and gals, 75, 85% are hired at the job they intern at, or they're hired at the next company they interview at. And it doesn't make any, never mind to me, brother, because you can either hire the intern and hire them for $2,600. We charge corporate America. Hey, it's going to cost me money to go train the next one. So you kept one, take a penny, leave a penny, right? So they write a check for $2,600. I go get the next one. They get a $9,600 tax credit from DOL. And if they
Department of Labor.
That's right, Department of Labor. And if they want somebody else, well, I got a database of over 11,000 people, dude, that they can pick from. And then we get a direct hire fee. So, whether the vet, I always tell our vets, man, hey, man, if the first place you intern doesn't like it, don't worry about it, bro. I got all kinds of companies that'll take you because
so how much out of pocket is there? Not the time investment, but the out of pocket for the applicant that comes to Vets of PM.
Nope. No charge to the vet, man. It's all paid. It's all picked up by corporate America, and most staffing agencies do 20% of your first year salary. And we're talking, I do project managers, HR managers, cybersecurity professionals. These folks, it ain't chump change, man. They make $95,000, $105,000 right out of the uniform.
Sure.
So when I say, hey, how about a $5,000 flat fee and you get a tax credit? The employer's like, math, sure, I'll take 5.
This is an amazing program, people. You've got to get engaged. Our producer, John, is going to scroll Vets the PM website so you can make direct contact with Doc and his associates. This is it is a unique program because it's really not offered anywhere. Have you any, let's say, competitors, or is this the game in town right now?
Well, so in terms of Garren, in terms of the DoD SkillBridge program, so there's thousands and thousands. You go to DoD's website, right, and look. And so, but here's what I have found in 2 years, 3 years hustling this thing is, and it just happened at the event you and I were at last night. So I meet a vice president and he's like, oh, well, we have a SkillBridge program. I'm like, I know, sir, but statistically speaking, if you're like the thousands of other companies that I know that do, what you mean is you have 2 or 3 full-time employees in HR that you pay to do HR stuff, running a program that they probably don't understand because they're probably civilians, and they're not doing the HR work you pay them to do because they're busy running this program for Uncle Sugar. Or you could just outsource it to my team that's a bunch of retired E7, 8, 9s that were those people a year ago, 2 years ago. Let them run the program. It's the easy button. We'll send you the list. And unlike a lot of other programs out there I will not name, we actively match candidates to your requisition. We don't just send you a list of people, say, hey, brother, good luck. Throw the spaghetti at the wall, see what sticks. Like, we literally match them to your recs. We train them to the certs you want them to have, so that the probability that you keep the one we send you is higher right out of the blocks, man. And because at the end of the day, that's what my promise is. My promise is to the vet for a meaningful, lucrative post-service career. Oh, yeah, it creates competitive advantage for the company, but that's a byproduct.
Yes, but those are the words: meaningful, lucrative post-service career. Couldn't. That's a fine point on what you're doing. So Vets to PM is an incredible program. You travel the country sharing this message. I'm not sure if you're doing recruiting. Are you doing recruiting for Vets to PM, or just for the applicants that need to transition into some other job?
Yeah, so I go to 1 to 2 events all over the country every single month, right? They don't like me in the office, Garren. I break stuff, so they make me stay out on the road, dude. But yeah, so essentially, I'm recruiting veterans. I'm recruiting veterans that have transitioned, or company owners that hire veterans for our podcast, number 2 podcast in its category, the Military Transition Academy. And I'm looking for host companies to put the veterans at, right? Because everybody's transition timeline's a little different, right? So you're literally throwing darts like, hey, I've got a company for you, but you've only got like an 8-day window, brother. We got to hustle you in there really fast, or sister. So there's lots of moving parts, and that's, my staff that built the entire program. They're experts at running the thing. But yeah, so I'm always recruiting vets. I'm recruiting companies. I'm recruiting guests for the podcast. I'm just recruiting, dude.
You are, and you're always out there, and the energy you have is amazing. I just have to share, people, listen, what does it say? Speak civilian fluently. This is a transition Bible. This is what you don't know. If you're driving a tank out in the desert and you come back and you haven't got a clue how that's going to work in a civilian world, Doc Wright and Vets to PM can certainly be a big help in that. During your off time, because I know you're a sailor, you said you're in the Navy, what do you enjoy doing?
Oh, man, I tell you what, dude, I'm blessed. So first of all, I get paid on the daily to just be me, right? Travel, train, and entertain, help other folks out. But when I'm not at the job, man, I live a block away from the beach. My office is a block away from the beach. My office is 8 blocks north of my house, brother. I'm fishing off the beach, or I'm surfing with my kid, or I'm taking a family out on the little 30-foot sailboat, 1995, brother, but it's still seaworthy, right? We're out on a little sailboat. I'm a project manager by trade, so there's always 119 projects to do. Just pick one. I mean, you guys know you got a boat, and it's just absolutely blessed, man. Absolutely.
I bring that up because that's an important aspect of everybody's post-military life, is to obviously get a job, a career that you enjoy doing and that you can excel at, but take time for yourself and your family, because we have to have well-rounded. When we're in the military, we're on the clock 24/7, 365. Now, once they separate service, things change a little bit. You still have to maintain that own personhood. You have to find something you're passionate about and that you enjoy doing, aside from working with somebody like Doc Wright and Vets to PM, to get the job that you deserve and that you're qualified for. And as he just described to you, everybody out there in American Warrior Radio Land, fear not. If you don't know how your MOS, your AFSC, your rating will translate into the civilian workforce, that's why we've got experts like Doc and his staff to help you and to push you forward for success. Is that kind of the sum up?
Yeah, I mean, Garren, that's I'll put the check in the mail for that, brother. I mean, that's what we do. We help
share this episode.
Yeah, you bet. Yeah, we literally, the magic in the magic trick is, I spent 9 years in 2 different uniforms total. I've spent over 30 years in business and university, government and private sector. I know what you're capable of. I know what they need from you. I just played the right song so you both see each other on the dance floor and have a cool tango. So we translate, we validate it with certifications they instantly recognize. It's the same certs they're wearing. And then they hire you because you look like them, you sound like them, you act like them, you quack like them. They're looking for a duck, they hire you. You look like a duck. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, it's simple. But that's what we do.
There are those material things about people that have worn the uniform of the Army, Air Force, Navy, Marines, Coast Guard, Space Force, National Guard Reserves. We all have those certain things. And part of it, aside from a rigid 1, 2, 3, 4 going through that, they've got the discipline. They have the drive. Maybe they were a washout. I don't know. But if you've survived a career in the military or done 4 years and done very well, you already know that you've got what it takes to move from A to B to C and go on through. And if you take that same formula and apply it to the civilian workforce, aside from the TAP class, which, Doc, hopefully you'll come back as a guest on another episode of American Warrior Radio, and we can talk about your specific issue with the Transition Assistance Program, because it is lacking in so many ways. But one really important point that we'll talk about next time, they go through that, they still really don't know. I mean, what are you going to go to a TAP class and learn how to write a resume? That's not enough. Vets to PM is the outfit you want to plug into if you want to have success. Any last words, Doc? I really appreciate your time with us.
No, man, I same likewise, brother. It was great catching up with you last night, and I really appreciate you guys having me on. I know we've kind of wrangled this thing a couple different times, and I appreciate John. So I appreciate it, brother. Thank you.
Awesome. Everybody, it's Doc Eric Wright. He's a PhD. He's a military veteran. He's got it going on, Vets to PM. Our producer, John's going to scroll that across the screen. You make contact, and success is on the horizon. Thank you, brother, so much. Safe travels, and we'll talk again soon.
Right on. Thanks, Garren. Appreciate you.
Bet. And as I always say, everybody, don't forget, thank a vet. Hi, everyone. It's Garren Cohn with American Warrior Radio. I'm here with my good friend Christian. We're here to deliver a very important message about a crisis in our land.
Suicide prevention, more specifically, veteran suicide prevention.
22 a day are taking their own lives. This must stop. This can't continue. If you or someone you know is contemplating suicide, please know that God has tomorrow planned for you. Don't take your own life. And just remember, suicide is a permanent solution
to a temporary problem.